What is the roadmap to defeat self-sabotage, negative thinking, and learned helplessness? In these unprecedented times, you must get connected, get growing, get certain, and get attitude. The Get Attitude Podcast. And welcome to the GAP, the Get Attitude Podcast. My name is Glenn Bill. I am your host of the award-winning Get Attitude Podcast. And today we have the one and only Julie Braun with us. Julie has written an ebook. She is the founder of, is it Super Interns, Jason? Is that right? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Super Purposes.
Super Purposes. Well, I know, but what was the first one we were talking about?
Superinterns.com.
Yeah, superinterns.com.
We're really focused on Super Purposes.
Right, but superpurposes.com is what she's doing. She has written an ebook called Why the F Can't I Get a Job? She is the founder of Super Purposes. She is also a person who is in the middle of creating a documentary from ground zero to career superhero. We're going to learn all about winning at your job, winning at your career, winning at your salary. And she is just such an unbelievable personality. I cannot wait for you to meet her. So you know what? She's already come in. But we're going to go ahead and give her one more introduction. Let's everybody welcome Julie Braun. SJ, what's up? And welcome to the Get Attitude Podcast.
Thank you. Super excited to be here.
I love it. I love it. And you're out in Seattle, Washington, correct?
I am.
And
yeah.
My sister lives out near Gig Harbor in, I'm sure you know where it is. It's, yes, beautiful out there. So and we actually just had we had another guest from Seattle, which was good. Well, Julie, let's get right into it. We have our listeners are called Gappers, and I'm like, I saw your videos, and I've seen you on different podcasts. I'm like, I need this energy in our podcast. So let's you and me do some good. Sound good?
I love it.
I love it. Well, tell me, Julie, what is your definition of attitude?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I mean, you can have a really crappy one,
yeah,
or you can have an amazing one. When I think of an attitude is kind of what we bring every day in the morning when we get up out of bed. And it really is the difference between setting forth, it's something that only we can control. So I have a really amazing relationship with attitude.
Tell me about it.
Because it's something that no one else can take away from me.
I love it. Yeah, that's true. And so what, obviously it's a choice. You just said that, and I agree with you, and it's nothing that people can take away. How do you maintain, or how do you stay in a peak attitude or a positive attitude every day? What's your formula?
Well, when I get up, I do my morning meditation before I even get out of bed. And I think about what I'm grateful for. I think about setting intentions, and then I speak my intentions in the morning.
Wow.
I talk to myself in the mirror a lot.
Good.
I also have been practicing this new thing where I give myself a high five every morning in the mirror and say, good job. And you've got this, and you're amazing. And it kind of gets me immediately into a fantastic mood.
I like that. That's kind of like, are you a Mel Robbins fan? Because she's got her new thing, High Five, right?
I am.
So you probably got that from Mel. Now, I can't get Mel on. I just am not famous enough for her yet. But if she knows you or you know her, let's get her on here, because she would be so good on this show.
I'm taking notes.
All right, girl. I appreciate that.
And you just manifested that. So
I did.
You want to get connected with Mel Robbins as you wish.
We need to get her on here for sure. I've been trying, but I can't right now. But we're going to get there. There's no doubt. Talk to me about manifestation. Obviously, you believe in it. Obviously, it's happened to you before. I'd love to know what inspired your belief in manifesting things, bringing things into reality. Is there a story that you could tell us that would do that? And anything that you'd like to add on that?
Yes. So I think the year was somewhere around 2006, 2007. I saw The Secret, kind of a famous manifestation movie. And shortly after that, I met John Assaraf, and he became a coach for me.
Wow.
And I got exposure to that thinking, and I just adopted it very quickly.
I love it. I love it.
I also realize that so often, we just don't know. Maybe we're not familiar with, we didn't grow up in the environment that was encouraged for us to dream and to visualize. So it kind of reawoken that in me. And since then, I've been having my thoughts and seeing how quickly I can manifest things. It's kind of a game, actually, that I completely enjoy. But I'm a student of understanding energy in the universe, and I'm not done yet, Glenn.
I like it. I like it. And as a student of that, could you maybe give us one or two tips to help understand the universe or karma or intention or manifestation? Let's say that one of our gappers is out there going, hey, this all sounds good, but I don't know how to do it. What would you, and maybe you've already told us from your intro, but any thoughts or tips or strategies to help people maybe become closer to what their destiny is?
I think understanding what your target is. We talk about this a lot in career. So I meet people all the time, and one of my first questions I'll ask them is, what do you want to do, or what company do you want to work for, if they want to work for a company? And usually most people have zero idea. They'll just say, well, I never really thought about it. I'd like to work for any company. And as soon as they say any company, I'm like, ooh, okay, we need to narrow that target down and get you really looking at the bullseye. So what is the company that you want to be shooting your bow and arrow at? And some people get there very quickly, and other people take quite a while to figure it out. But as soon as they come up with the name, then it's like, excellent, because we can now start practicing you shooting your bow and arrow. We're going to start developing relationships at that company. You're going to start meeting people who already work there. They're going to get to know you and fall in love with you. And as that happens, the job opportunities are going to start opening for you at that company.
Wow, that is so powerful and such great information for our gappers. Gappers, the question is this: do you have your bullseye picked out, right? Do you have it? Now, do you do personal coaching, SJ? Do you coach, or do you just offer programs that people go through?
Well, we have online courses that help people get a job in 12 weeks. And I do a lot of career coaching for people who need extra help. We have some other folks on the team that can also help us, do that coaching.
Cool.
But for folks who just get stuck and like they don't even know where to start, they're kind of like, I want to get a new job, or I haven't worked for a long time. I've been taking care of the kids, or maybe they're recently divorced, or their relationships have changed and they're moving into a new generation of their life. That is where we can really help people. And it's never too late. I mean, I have some people on our team, they're in their 70s.
Love it. Yeah, that's so cool.
And, you're not done yet. You're not done yet. So you can have the sort of career and work with the sort of people that you want to, and be appreciated and get the salary that you deserve.
I love
The
it.
world is your oyster right now because we are experiencing the employee revolution. And this is something that hasn't happened for at least 100 years.
I love it. I love it. Talk to me about the employee revolution. You certainly can feel it. People are saying this. Been through COVID, don't like my job, not going back, love being home. And people need people working now more than ever. And so do you mean the employee revolution is really about the demand for employees, but also the recreation of an employee in themselves? Talk to me a little bit about what an employee revolution is.
100% what you just said.
Cool. Well, go ahead. Keep
It
going.
was COVID for sure. Did that slingshot around the moon. We were going to get there anyway, but because of COVID, people had the opportunity to stay at home. They were able to see their children and realize, oh my gosh, little Johnny needs me more than I ever thought.
Oh, man. Good one.
They started realizing my husband, wife, partner, whoever it is, I get to see them. I get to either enjoy them or not.
Mm-hmm.
There was this ability to start cooking and maybe finding creativity in themselves that they had forgotten about.
Wow. Yeah.
So COVID put so many of us back at home. And because of that, it has sped up this understanding of, I don't have to go to a stinking office, sit in a room with a bunch of people who may or may not be sick. I don't have to sit in a car commuting or a subway. I don't have to do certain hours. I can take a nap in the afternoon if I want. You know, all of these things have happened.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that's ringing my bell right now, when I think about, we have also started to realize that we can live with a whole lot less. And because of that, we may not have to necessarily be part of a two workers in a family unit. We can now say, okay, you're going to work. I'm going to take some time off and I'm going to find what I really want to do. So that's all about the employee revolution or the Great Resignation. A lot of people know that we're calling it the Great Resignation, but I think you nailed it.
Wow, that is so cool. And, you know, it's a topic that we haven't really talked about. I mean, this is just fascinating to me, the workforce of America and how America's is remolding itself. We have a lot of technology now where people are actually going to offices in the cloud. They're an avatar. And our female listeners and my female friends go, I love being an avatar. I'm like, why? They're like, I don't have to do my hair. I can get in my yoga pants. I can sit in a meeting and I'm not spending an hour in front of the mirror dolling up so I can go look great for a bunch of people sitting around a table. And we're having the same content, but I'm getting an hour of my life back. I mean, that's just so incredible to me.
It is astonishing how much time we would spend preparing for work and then winding down from work.
Right.
And we're experiencing this work-life blend like we've never had before, where I think of my day, I get up at around 7:30 in the morning. I do my morning meditations. I get my coffee. I eat something. I go into my first meeting around 9 o'clock. And I will take breaks throughout the day. I might take a walk that I never did before if I were working in an office. I am actually having a lunch instead of, eating at the computer. I mean, I can do that too some days when I'm really busy, but it feels more civilized. And I also feel that employers are having awakening as well, because they're realizing that there's more anxiety than ever before, that our employees are very often stretched to the max. They are having mental challenges, psychological challenges. they are physically maybe not feeling great, and that we have to start treating people as human beings. We got to get the human back into human resources.
Yeah. I mean, just crazy. So when you think, and I think kind of what we're talking about is culture, give me any nuggets you have when it comes to business culture or company culture, for those people that are small business owners and managers that are listening. And I think you've just dropped some huge bombs. I mean, so good, SJ. What other advice about maybe culture or career haven't we talked about that people need to be talking about?
Glenn, you have your radar on.
Thank you.
Because I could have said this to anybody else and they wouldn't have understood that I was talking about culture.
Mm-hmm.
The culture that needs to change, we're seeing a lot of change in Fortune 500 companies. It's going to triple to the Fortune 5000s, and then it will hit everybody else who is looking for help.
Yes.
If your team is quitting in droves, the very first thing that you have to look at is your reflection in the mirror. How are you treating people? Are you valuing them as human beings? Do you have the sort of relationship where you are asking them, about their lives? Like, I'll give you an example. This morning, I met with our director of culture and talent at Super Purposes. I had not seen her one-on-one probably for about a month. And I just said, we have to meet. I need to connect with you. We spent the first half hour of our meeting just catching up as human beings.
Oh.
I got to hear about her daughter, going on a college tour with her, the whole road trip. We laughed. We had moments of, like heartfelt, like, oh. And it is those things when people feel that from you and it is genuine. I mean, it has to come from the heart. It can't be any kind of false sense of, well, I'm listening to you, but I'm really thinking about the 27 other things we have to do today.
Yes.
That you take the time and that you are truly present.
I love it.
And when people feel that they are heard and that they have the opportunity to really speak what's happening to them, you will see that people will stay with you. They will trust you because they are in an environment that they feel safe and secure.
I love it. Yeah, I've been writing about this on LinkedIn every day. If you follow me, just go to Glenn Bell on LinkedIn. And I wrote an article. It's about them, not the job. And so many employers are, we focus on accountability. We focus on huddling. We focus on job. And certainly this revolution that you speak of is the employers that are going to win. It's about them. It's not about the job. And you need to know how to intertwine that, right? Are there tips? Certainly just sitting down and talking, are there any other tips and strategies that you have to win at your job, win at your career, or win at your salary that you like to talk about with your listeners and followers?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I need about a day on this one, but very high level. I think the first thing is get your LinkedIn profile and think about the top part of that LinkedIn profile. Think about that as being your career novel. So you have a picture of yourself. Make sure that it's, a nice picture of you smiling and you're looking welcoming and like, oh, I'd like to work with that person.
Right.
Make sure your backdrop, so that cover image on LinkedIn speaks to the job either that you have or the job that you want. So if you want a job in coding, having a bunch of coding behind you is very fun. Even putting a joke into the coding is even better.
I love it. That's great.
Because when recruiters and hiring managers come and they see that code and they look and they see the joke, they're going to laugh and they're going to say, ooh, we need that person on our team. We always want to be around people who can put a smile on our face.
I love it. I love it. Now, real quick, Gappers, she's going to give us some great stuff here. If you're not satisfied in your job, your career, or your salary, if you feel that there's more inside of you, right? If you know that you're not doing and not belonging to where you should be doing things and belonging, listen to SJ. First thing, Gappers, go to your LinkedIn profile. If you don't have one, create one. Have fun with it. Make it your career novel. I love that. All right, let's go to number 2. Thank you.
The heading.
Mm-hmm.
The heading needs to capture these 4 things. Number 1, what you do. What you do. And sometimes when people go through this, they go through the exercise of, well, I manage people. They'll just go through a whole list. That's okay. Just write it down. Your headline doesn't have to be perfect right away. It'll be over the course of time. It'll evolve. But what you do, how you do it uniquely is the second thing. Mm-hmm. The unique thing can be something that makes you kind of weird.
Right.
That can be the thing that people will go, oh, there's a fellow weirdo. I like that. That's unique. That's special. So what you do uniquely, and then who you serve. So are you serving a company, an industry, a group of people? Are you serving a specific demographic? You need that on there because when people are looking for you, they can very easily find you. Like, oh, they work with academics. That's perfect. We need that. We need that coder to work with us because we work with academics and they specialize in this field. And then the 4th thing is your title. So if you don't have a great title, then give yourself one. Give yourself a great title. The title police are not going to be coming knocking on your door saying, you don't own that title.
Yes.
Now, I wouldn't put vice president of something really huge unless you had the skills of a VP.
Right.
But your title can be whatever you want it to be.
Now, I notice you're up to around 19,000 followers on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
How did you do that on purpose? Is there strategies for that? Are you a creator? I don't know if you have your creator button on. We need to probably. Yeah, I think you do have your creator button on. I'm looking at your title right now. Ooh, Employee Revolution. Very good. Tell me, how'd you get to 19,000 followers? There are people I know listening. They're like, God, I only got 2,300 followers. What's the number one thing you can do to get more followers?
Just connect with everybody.
Right.
So we always talk about on LinkedIn, you need to reach the magical 500 threshold. Mm-hmm. You need 500 connections, everybody. So if you go to LinkedIn, there's a tab at the top that says, I think it says network. Mm. And if you click on that,
oh, there it is.
Yeah, my network. If you click on that, it'll bring you to a page where you can just connect with tons of people. I never look at their faces,
right,
their titles. I just connect with them. Random strangers. It's okay. I don't care if they're the CEO of a company. I don't care if they clean the toilet. All of those people may be the person who's going to help me get my next opportunity.
I love it.
It's just to get started, to get the first 500.
Mm-hmm.
Once when you get 500, then LinkedIn is like, oh, well, you've reached our threshold. Well, now we're going to start directing traffic your way.
Right.
Because LinkedIn is a search engine just like Google.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so when that happens, now you can start reaching out to the specific companies you want to work for, the people who you want to connect with. Like Glenn, you said that you wanted to connect with Mel Robbins. So you're talking to me. I think I'm connected to her. But if I'm not, I know I'm connected to someone who's connected to her. So I'm going to go through that door so I can get you two connected.
I like it. I think I may be, but I just know she's real busy. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, that's okay. You're really busy too. And so am I.
There's no doubt. Yeah, we're going to get that done. SJ, you've been so freaking good. I really appreciate these tips on helping people get jobs, get careers, about the revolution that's happening with employees. I just think it was very profound to listen to you. But now we're going to go close our show. We got about 10, 15 minutes to do this in, with what we call knowledge through the decades. And what we're going to do is walk through your life, and I'm going to ask you the attitude lesson that you learned as you were growing up and becoming, as you were bridging the gap from where you were to where you are now. Certainly, and we'll probably hear this story, you weren't where you are now a while ago. So let's start with childbirth. I don't know if you remember being born, but what do you think the attitude lesson of childbirth, a newborn baby, whether it's you, your kids, or whatever, what's the attitude lesson, right? The way you dedicate yourself to the way you think when you think about having a baby or being born.
For me, I was adopted.
Love it.
So for me, it was, I hope somebody wants me.
Interesting.
And I still carry some of the abandonment issues with me, but I'm super aware of them now. So, therapy's been wonderful.
Yes, of course.
But that wanting to belong.
Yes.
To be part of something. So that was really that childhood baby kind of magic that I think of that attitude.
And so we've definitely had a lot of guests that have come from adoption. We've definitely had a lot of guests that have been in foster care that did not have great stories, and that's what shaped their attitude. And certainly people that are listening who have been adopted are probably going through this. Maybe they haven't had the therapy. Maybe they haven't talked. What's the one message you could give them as a fellow person who's been adopted? What's the message of hope? What's the attitude you can give them if we're just there may only be 60 of you out there, but you know what? I think there's a reason you're on this program. What's the best piece of therapy you got to help you move on?
My family wasn't great that I grew up in, but I think it was better than the family I was born into.
Right.
And I think that at some point in your life, you have to stop blaming the situation that you're in. And you have to kind of look at yourself and say, well, what's my responsibility to where I am today?
Love it.
So the thing that I use, and I use this frequently, is I don't let anybody else, not a single human being, can ever determine my success. I am responsible for it.
Amen to that. Now, that's an attitude lesson and an attitude nugget that everybody should take with you. Were you adopted young, like as an infant, or were you adopted?
Yes, I think I was around a couple weeks.
Oh, so really young. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then all the other trauma that families give you, whether you're adopted or not, we've all had it, right? All right. So I want you to think of JB or SJ going into fourth grade. You're 10 years old. Knowledge through the decades. Do you remember being 10? And did anything happen to you at 10 that shaped your attitude? What was that attitude lesson?
I do. I was working on becoming a leader then, because I have dyslexia and an auditory processing disorder. But I didn't know that at the time. But I was doing things like I was being very cooperative with other people so that they would help me do my work, because I wasn't great in school. So I was gaining relationship. I was building relationships, and I was getting people to help me do what I was not capable of doing myself. So that was one leadership skill. Another thing is that I worked really hard at the things that I was good at, or I could have potential in. So I got into business right away. Like I had a paper route. I always recycled as a kid. So I would take recycling to the local recycling center to make some money.
I love it.
It was very scrappy.
I love it.
And then, so that's what's bubbling up for me around that age, that I was really understanding delegation.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
cool. So cool. I like it. So now you hit 20 years old. I'm wondering, did you go to college? Did you graduate from college? Where were you in your life at 20? And what was your attitude lesson then?
Well, I was a big party girl.
Atta girl. I knew I liked you.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, we could kind of go, okay, but I'm sober now.
Congratulations.
But in those years, I did a lot. I was having a lot of fun. And I barely went to school. I know I went to college and took a lot of classes. I think I got my bachelor's, but I don't think I did it very well or very quickly.
Oh, I love it. How fun.
But more building relationships and spending a lot of time on the social side of things. So it was kind of like I was free from my family, and I kind of went a little crazy in my 20s.
You're not the only person on the Gap that went crazy in their 20s, including the host. So you're all good. I love it. What was your drink of choice when you were a drunk?
Oh my gosh, gin and tonic.
I had a girl. Ooh, man, that makes people crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I love the quinine in that tonic. Like right now, thinking about it, I'm getting a little salivation here.
Yeah, I didn't mean to be a trigger.
Don't trigger me.
I didn't mean to be a trigger.
Glenn.
I didn't.
Fun fact, I actually did not have my first sip of alcohol until I was 26 years old.
How about that?
Yeah.
Wow,
and now I'm making up for lost time.
That's quite impressive.
Right. I drank enough to fill a city pool by the time I was 26. All right. So 30 years old hit. Had you found sobriety at 30, and what was the attitude lesson at 30 for you?
I was very late to sobriety. I didn't get sober until I was 50.
Wow.
Congratulations,
but in my 30s,
by the way. Yeah. I was all about the work.
Oh,
so
okay.
I skyrocketed very quickly into corporate jobs, working for big box brands.
Wow.
Like Victoria's Secret, Nike, MTV.
Wow.
I worked for a lot of cosmetic companies too, like Estee Lauder. I worked a lot in department stores in my 20s, so it made sense to go towards cosmetics.
Yeah.
In my career, and during that time, it was all about the work.
Mm-hmm.
And how was I going to arrive early in the office, stay late at night, impress everybody? I was all about action.
Wow.
Hard work was very familiar to me. So it was an area that I excelled.
And so the attitude lesson, when you think about being 30, 31, 32, 33, what was your attitude? It sounds like it was hard charging. It was, I'm going to outwork you. It was about the attitude of success. But even as a woman back then, that had to have a certain wrinkle to it too. I mean, women weren't treated the same back then, right?
No. And I also never felt like I fit in to begin with.
Oh.
So there was this, I've always had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. And I think that has helped me in a lot of areas, but it's also been a hindrance as well.
Sure.
I think the thing was that I wanted to show and prove, that I was going to make more money. I made a lot of money in my 30s and 40s.
Atta girl, good for you.
I mean, it was exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I fell into the materialistic trap
right
a bit, where getting more stuff and more stuff and more stuff was really important.
Sure.
I've since transitioned out of that. We'll talk about that when we hit 50s.
All right.
I was really just about getting the work done, showing that I was as good as everybody else, if not better. There was a lot of ego involved. So that was kind of my attitude when I think about it.
Yeah, interesting. And I know that there's people that are in the rat race now, whether there's a revolution or not. But maybe one of our gappers is sitting there going, crap, that's me. I mean, I'm working, and I'm buying cars and I'm buying houses and I'm selling myself short, and maybe I'm not real happy. So that means that they can't wait to get to 50, but we got to go to 40 first. Now, I know that your 30s and 40s seems like it might have run together, but do you remember turning 40? Did you have a realization? Was there something that occurred in your life at 40 or early 40s that maybe changed your attitude or awakened you to a new way of thinking?
I spent my entire 40s being internally a very unhappy person. It was almost as if I was going through my midlife crisis. And I think this happens to a lot of people. Some people have the exterior midlife crisis where they get new hair, they get a new arm candy, they get a new car. There's that.
Yeah.
I was having the internal midlife crisis, which is, what is my purpose?
Right.
Why am I here? Why am I so dissatisfied? And I'm a slow learner in a lot of ways. And it really took me about those 10 years to understand that the life that I was living was not deriving happiness.
Sure.
Things really don't make me happy at all.
Yeah.
Things are so low on my list. What makes me happy are people.
Love it.
I keep going back to relationships.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I always say that if you're not living your vision, you're living someone else's. And so
that's excellent.
Thank you. And so many of us, even when we're in our 40s, still live the vision that our first attitude teachers gave us. And we all know that our attitude teachers a lot of times didn't know what the hell they were really talking about. Those would be our parents, guardians, coach, teacher, whatever. And then, when you can figure out that, I've been living a fake vision. Like, Gappers, the question is are you living your vision or somebody else's? That's the heartfelt question, and I think that's what SJ and I are going through, right? Because, and look, at 40 is very common that this happens. So now we're at 50, right?
Yeah.
So
at 50, I got sober.
I love it. At 50, or was it you a little?
I was probably a little before 50.
Yeah.
But that year.
That happened.
And it has been a miracle.
Yes.
It has been a true awakening. I have my sober mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I, in my 50s, have given away or gotten rid of or sold all of my material trappings.
Nice.
So now, here's how different my life is. Everything I own fits in a suitcase.
There you go.
Everything I own. I have one pair of shoes.
Mm-hmm.
That the environment that I'm in is always somebody else's home. I take care of my friend's home. And so I live for free, essentially, by taking care of their homes when they're not here. I'm in their other homes.
Right.
And it is the most digital nomad lifestyle that I could ever imagine, to fit everything that I own in a suitcase. Oh, and I have a backpack for my laptop.
I like it. Now, I don't need the details, and if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. But I always think, the attitude of rock bottom. When you said, I need help, right? I mean, There's somebody that's listening to this, I'm telling you, that probably feels it. And I want you to talk to them right now. What was it? What was the attitude? What was the feeling when you said I just can't do this anymore? Can you give me, doesn't have to be specific, but I'd love to hear the story.
My life is an open book. So thank you for asking the question.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really have a rock bottom because I had had many previously, and I had ignored all of those rock bottoms.
Yeah.
My moment was, I was with a friend and we were in a very fancy Skybox watching a Seattle Sounders game. And I wasn't drinking that week for whatever reason. I would have long bouts of sobriety, but still go back to drinking. And I was watching my friend drinking, and she got, very drunk. And I kept saying to myself, that could be you. And I was seeing that situation. I was like, it's not pretty. And so I connected with her after a few days and I said, I'm going to get sober.
Right.
And I want to be your sober friend. And here was my thinking.
So cool.
I'll show you the ego. I was thinking, I'm going to be the savior for my friend.
Right.
I mean, my gosh, the ego in that.
Yeah,
but
not
the
how it
reality
works.
is,
Not how that works.
I end up getting sober for myself.
Good.
And it was the best gift that I've ever given myself.
Oh, that's great. I just love it.
So you don't have to hit rock bottom, but you do have to have an awakening.
Right.
And I think it can be different for different people, but that was mine.
It could be your incredibly drunk friend that you're going out with this weekend. So keep your eyes open. I got him. I love it. Okay, well, you're not 60, are you?
No.
Okay, well, then I can't do 60 with you. So what we're going to do, I tell you, you've just been so delightful, SJ. I just love this. I think this has been good. I think hopefully we've helped some people. Hopefully, Gappers, you'll like this. I want you to find Julie Braun. Follow her on LinkedIn. You can Google her. She's everywhere. Julie, how we always like to close the Get Attitude podcast is just one message, thought, or attitude of hope for the people that are tuning in today. What's your message of hope for them? What would you like to give them?
Wherever you are in the middle of your miracle. So you may not know. You might be working really hard and going, oh, when am I going to get there? You're just in the middle of the miracle, but it's going to happen.
I love that. That is so beautiful. Well, SJ, you've been a miracle to us. I can't wait for you and I to do wonderful things together, make connections together. I want to thank you for being a part of the Get Attitude podcast, helping our Gappers get from where they are to where they want to go and from who they are to who they want to become. Please check out her documentary, From Ground Zero to Career Superhero. It's on her YouTube channel, so make sure that you go to the Super Purpose YouTube channel. Check out the lovely, talented SJ. SJ, it was great having you on the Get Attitude podcast.